A Builder by Ambrose Bierce. I saw the devil, he was working free, a customs house he builded by the sea. Why do you this? The devil raised his head. Churches and courts I've built enough, he said. A Caller by Ambrose Bierce. Why, golden sun, you're looking very well, said Death, as strolling through the county jail. He entered that serene assassin's cell, hung his head and coat upon a nail. I think that life in this secluded spot agrees with men of your trade, does it not? Well, yes, said Golden Sun, I can't complain. Live anywhere provided it is mine. Agrees with me, but I observe with pain that still the people murmur and repine. It hurts their sense of harmony, no doubt, to see a persecuted man grow stout. Oh no, 'tis not your growing stout, said Death, which makes these malcontents complain and scold. I like you to be somehow scant of breath. What I object to is your growing old, and though indifferent to lean or fat, I don't myself entirely favour that. If brows that met above the orb's banner for nose that like a soaring hawk appeared, and lifted lip uncovering his teeth, the mimically killer coldly sneered. Oh, so you don't? Well, how will you assuage your spongy passion for the blood of age? Death, with a clattering convulsion, drew his coat on, headed his unmeted bow, unbarred the door, and, stepping partly through, turned and made answer. I will show you how. I'm going to the beach you called supreme, and tap the old woman who sat there and dream. A Challenge by Ambrose Bierce. A bull imprisoned in a style broke boldly the confining wall, and found himself and out of bounds within the washerwoman's groans, where, hanging on line to dry, a crimson skirt inflamed his eye. With bellow wings that woke the dead, he bent his formidable head, with pointed horns and gnarled forehead, and planting firm his shoulders how it began, with rage made half insane, to pour the air with earth amain, flinging the dust upon his flanks, and desolate clouds and banks, while his eyes, uneasy wide, betrayed his doubt, would foe the bright, red hand concealed perchance from sight. The garment which, all undismayed, had never paled a single shed, nor found an untangling sock, left carelessly inside the smoke. I must inside my grace lead, that you'll be pleased to raise the siege. A colours I will never strike, and all your sex you're all alike. Some small experience I've had, you're not the first I've driven mad. The Controversialist by Ambrose Bierce. I've sometimes wished that Ignis soul the wise to hold his tongue, nor rail against the skies, and he's made a point some pious dunce, like Ballad with bullet replies. I brandish no iconoclastic fist, nor enter the debate an atheist, and when they say there is a God, I ask, the Ballad then is suffered to exist. Even in defiles what logic might resent, saying there's no place for his punishment that's worse than earth, humble I submit, and he would make a hell wherever sent. A Coward by Ambrose Bierce. By hardihood to rise and fear to strike, and fiddle to rebuke his sin's decrees, that hide from others with what care he please. Night shan't be black enough, nor earth so white, from himself can never hide. Hard fate indeed, to feel at every breath his burden of identity till death. In moment's respite from the immortal load, to think himself a serpent or a toad, or dream with a divine ecstatic glow, he's long been dead and canonized a crow. A Critic by Ambrose Bierce. Let from you, neighbour, to his vacant lot, each rhyming and literary necker scourges his cart-compelling Pegasus to trot, as folly fame of them and smartly urges. Admonishes by the stimulating goad, how gaily low the Spavian crowbait prances its cart before it, eager to unload the dead dog's sentiments and swilter fancies. Gravely the sweating scavenger pulls out the tailboard of his crust imagination, shoots all his rascal rubbish, and no doubt thanks fortune for so good a dumping station. To improve your property, the while cascade your thrift invites to make a higher level, and vain with tons of garbage overlaid, your baseless bog sinks slowly to the devil. Rubbish may be shot here a familiar sign, I seem to see it in your every column. You have your wishes, and if I had mine, 'twould to your editor mean something solemn. A Crocodile by Ambrose Bierce. Nay, Peter Robertson, 'tis not for you to blur our Max Taubes for his dead. By heaven, my hearty, if you only knew, I bet has a grave woman the head, and brains like yours, how far more decent too, a tomb and far greener than a bed. The Peter lies with Peter, you would covet his happy estate, and dying learn to love it. The recesses of a silent tomb, no moan rings if it disturb the peace. Your mental bagpipe, droning like the gloom, perforce must cease from troubling further. In a crack or doom your mouth, shaped like a long bow, shall release in vain such shafts as wit as it can utter. The ear of death can't even hear them flutter. A Culinary Candidate by Ambrose Bierce. A cook adorned with paper cap, or waiter with a tray, may be a worthy kind of chap in his way, and only one for recorder, then Mr. Walton, take our order. A Fair Division by Ambrose Bierce. Another Irish landlord gone to grass, slain by the bullets of a tenant class. Pray, good agrarians, what wrong requires such full redress? Between you and the squares, all islands parted with an even hand, we have all the ire by all the land. A False Prophecy by Ambrose Bierce. Dom Pedro, Emperor of Far Brazil, whence coffee comes in the three-cornered nut, they say that you imperial ill, and threatening with paralysis. Stood the emperors are mortal, nothing but a nimble thunderbolt could catch and kill a man predestined to depart this life by the assassin's bullet, bomb, or knife. So once there was a president who freed 10 million slaves, and once there was a Tsar who freed 5 times as many serfs. Since breed the means of punishment in turns are hurled headlong out of the triumphal car, and faster than the law allows their speed. Lincoln and Alexander struck a rut, you freed slaves too, paralyzed to do. A Fish Commissioner by Ambrose Bierce. Great Joseph D. reddening illustrious name, considered a fish horn the trumpet of fame. The goddess was angry, and what do you think? A trumpet she filled with a gallon of ink, and all through press with devilish glee she sputtered and spattered the name of J.D. A Guest by Ambrose Bierce. Deaf, are you well? Just to have no cold that's painful in any way annoying, no kidney trouble that may carry you off, or heart disease to keep you from enjoying your meals and hours. Very sad indeed to have to quit the busy life you lead. You've been quite active lately for so old a person and very strong appearing. I'm apprehensive somehow that my bold brother gave you trouble in despairing. My 2 friends, I fear, sir, that you ran quite hard for them, especially the man. I crave your pardon. It was not fault of mine. If you were overworked, I'm sorry, very. Come in, old man, and have a glass of wine. It should be masala port or sherry. What, just a mug of blood? It's funny, grog. Ask a friend for her. Well, take it, hawk. A Hymn of the Many by Ambrose Bierce. God's people sore they were oppressed. I hear their lamentations along. I hear the singing clear and strong. I see the banners in the west. The captains shout the battle cry. The legions muster in their might. They turn their faces to the light. With their arms they testify. We sing beneath the master's throng, our chafing chains were ne'er undone. Now clash our lances, and the sun bless our banners with a song. God bides his time with patient eyes, while tyrants build upon the land. He lifts his face, he lifts his hand, and from the stones his temples rise. Now freedom waves of joy swing beyond the foam and shields of gold. March forward singing, for behold, the right shall rule, God is king. A Lacking Factor by Ambrose Bierce. You acted unwisely, I cried, as you see by the outcome. He calmly eyed me, and choosing the course of my action, said he, I had not the outcome to guide me. A Literary Method by Ambrose Bierce. His poems rightly says that he indites upon an empty stomach. Heavenly powers feed him throatful, but what the beggar writes upon his empty stomach empties ours. A Long Felt Want by Ambrose Bierce. Dimly apparent through the gloom of market streets opaque Simone, a crew of people party sexed, awaiting the command of next. A sight above, a dingy sign, teeth dusted nice, 5 cents a shine. A Mass Meeting by Ambrose Bierce. It was a solemn religious air, was seem a mortal man. The celebrants, the people there were all Republican. There's tea bent his grizzled head, and General Dimon too, and one was heretic, someone said, or no one clearly knew. I saw the priest, white-robed and tall, assistant Father Stowe. He was the pious man men call done Burns of Mexico. 'Twas so high and holy read, as any one could swear. What does it mean? Asked the wit, who knelt apart in prayer. A mass for the repose, he said, of Colonel Marksam. What? Is gallant Colonel Marksam dead? Said, God what? A mass, repeated he, and rose to go kneel among the worshippers of the repose of Colonel Marksam's ton. A Military Incident by Ambrose Bierce. Dawn heralded the coming sun, for darkness was computing the minutes, and the sunrise gun was manned for saluting. The gunner at the firearm stood, to which he slowly loaded, when bang, I know not how it could, but sure the charge exploded. Yes, to that veteran's surprise, the gun went off sublimely, and both his busy arms likewise went off of it untimely. And said that gunner's to his mate, he was from Ballyshannon, and had the sense a minute late, according to his canon. A Mute Inglorious Milton by Ambrose Bierce. I'm the unaverage man, but you never have heard of me. For my brother the average man, outran my fame with rapidity. I'm sung in oblivion's sea, a bully big brother the world can span with his wide notoriety. I do everything that I can to make an attempt to me, but the papers ignore the unaverage man with the weird informity. Who sang with a dolorous note a voice that I heard from the beach on the sable waters that seemed to float like a mortal part of speech. The sea was oblivion's sea, and I cried as I plunged to swim. The unaverage man shall reside with him, but he didn't. I stayed with him. A Nightmare by Ambrose Bierce. I dreamed that I was dead. The years went by. I had forgot that such a man as I had ever lived and written. Other names for hail of a marsh and returned to die. Out of my grave a giant beech upgrew. Its roots transpierced my body through and through. My substance fed its growth. From many lands men came in troops a giant tree to view. It was scared to my memory and fame, a monument. But Alan Forman come, filled with the favour of a new and truth, and carved upon the trunk his odious name. Paradox by Ambrose Bierce. If life were not worth having, said the preacher, should have in suicide one pleasant feature. An error, said the pessimist, you're making. What's not worth having cannot be worth taking. Poet's Father by Ambrose Bierce. Welker, I'm told, can boast a father great and honored in the service of the state. Public instruction all his mind employs, he guides its method and its wage enjoys. Prime pedagogue and Pierce and Grant, he waves his fellow or studier's land. The harming youth, intent upon the page, thirsting for knowledge of no age, drink dry the whole brilliant spring and ask to slake their fervour at his private flask. Arrested by the terror of his frown, a vorting spitball drops untimely down. A fly impaled on the tormenting pin stills in his awful glance its dizzy din. Benefit stern regard of the chewing gum, which rideth and squeak with benefit heave his stump. Obedient to his will the unscape flies, to perch upon the brows of the unwise. The Sabbath which forsakes the parent word to settle where to do the greatest good, poisoned still as when of old it strove with Solomon for spitting on the stove, learned professor, the wisely great, guide, guardian, instructor of the state, quick to discern and zealous to correct, affords which mar the public intellect, from whereof scarce youth north and bound, is frozen eternal to the sunless ground, to whence San Diego toiled climb, as though the greaser swelters in his grime. And with your stupid nose, can you not see the dunce whom once you dandled on your knee? Almighty master of a thousand schools, stop teaching wisdom or stop breeding fools. A Poet's Hope by Ambrose Bierce. 'Twas a very looking mortal, and he wandered near the portal of a melancholy city of a discontented dead. He was pale and worn exceeding, and his manner was unheeding, as if it could not matter what he did not what he said. Scared stranger, I addressed with a reverence befitting the austere, unintermitting great solemnity he wore. 'Tis the custom, too, prevailing in the vicinage when hailing one impossible may be a person lately gone before. Scared stranger, much upon you with evident dejection, but my carefulest reflection leaves a riddle still unread. How do you yourself explain your dismal tendency to wander by the melancholy city of a discontented dead? And that solemn person, pausing in the march that he was making, rose himself as if waking, fixed his dull and stony eye on my countenance, and slowly, like a priest devout and holy, chanted in a mournful monotone the following reply. Oh, my brother, do not fear it. I am no disembodied spirit. I am London, the slang poet, with a price upon my head. I am watching by this portal for some late lamented mortal to rise in this disquietude and leave his earthy bed. Then I hope to take possession and pull in the earth above me, renouncing my profession, ne'er be heard of any more. There's not a soul to love me, and no living thing respects me, which so painfully affects me that I fain would go before. And I felt a deep compassion to the gentleman's dejection, for privation and affection would refrigerate a frog. So I said, if nothing human, and if neither man nor woman can appreciate the fashion of your married by a dog. A Political Violet by Ambrose Bierce. Come, Stanford, let us sit at ease and talk as old friends do. You talk of anything you please, and I will talk of you. You recently have said, I hear, that you would like to go to serve as senator. That's queer. Have you told William Stowe? Once in a legislature said, go, Stanford, and be great. You lifted up your Jovian head and overlooked the state. As one made leisurely awake, you lightly rubbed your eyes and answered, thank you, pleased to make an out of my surprise. And who away who skulk aside as to get out of reach, and in their clothing strive to hide $3,000 each. Not members of your body, sir, now that can hardly be. What statesmen, I suppose, are pure, what were rude? Dear me! You added you'll recall that though you were surprised and pained, you thought upon the whole you'd go, and in that mind remained. Now what so great a change has wrought, that you so frankly speak of seeking honours once and sought because you scorned to seek? Do not fear the grave of reproof and good create Haman's eyes, with Steve engaged, and stand aloof and pass you coldly by. Or fear ye not that romance leash will rise from earth and point at your scornful finger which, like perchance, adjoined? Go stand forth where the violets grow, and render modest strain, and let the work of William Stone be surprised again. Possibility by Ambrose Bierce. If the wicked gods were unwilling, pray it never may be true, that universal chilling should ensue of a sentiment of loving, if they made a great undoing of a plan of turtle doving, and the well poet lore evermore. If there were no more of billing, there would be no more of cooing, and we all should be but owls, lonely foes, blinking wonderfully wise with our great round eyes, sitting singly and gloaming in a longer two and two, as unwilling to be wedded as unpractised how to woo. With regard to being mated, asking still with aggravated, ungrammatical acerbity, to who, to who? A Prayer by Ambrose Bierce. Sweet spirit of Disciple, hear mother's prayer, and terrors pacify and offspring spare. Upon Silurians alone let fall, and God in heaven have mercy on them all. Red revenges of your fragrant breath, halt the flames invisible of death. Sing in each nose a melody of smells, and lead them snout-wise to their several hells. A Promised Fast Train by Ambrose Bierce. I turned my eyes upon the future scroll, and saw pictured prophecies in a row. I saw that magical life-laden train flash at long glorious on Nebraska's plain. I saw it smoothly at the mountain glide. "Oh, happy, happy passengers," I cried. For pleasure, singing, droned the engines roar, and hope on joyous pinions flew before. When divine the train down the sunset slope, pleasure was silent, unseen was hope. Cresses and shrieks attested the decay, a greed had roared upon that iron way. Rusted rails broke down the rotting ties, and clouds of flying spikes obscured the skies. My coward eyes I drew away distressed, and fixed them on the terminus to west. Soon, its melancholy tale to tell, a bloody car wheel revelled in and fell. A Rear Elevation by Ambrose Bierce. Once Moses, in scripture the story is told, entreated the favour God's face to behold. Compassion divine with petition denied, his vision be blasted and body be fined. Yet this much record informs us took place. Jehovah, concealing his terrible face, protruded his rear from behind a great rock, and identification ensued without shock. So cold like Salvini, lest whisperers die, averted the blaze of his withering eye, tempers his terrors and shows to the pack, a feeble adorers the broad of his back. The fires of altars, which paled and declined before him, burn all the more brightly behind. A happy adorers took care not at all, the fawning may tickle or lip service fall. A Song in Praise by Ambrose Bierce. Hail, blessed blunder, golden idol, hail, clay-footed deity of all who fail. Celestial image, let her glory shine, her feet concealing but a lamp to mine. Let me, at seasons opportune and fit, by turns adore thee and by turns commit. In the high service let me ever be, yet never serve thee as my critics me, happy and fallible, content to feel, I blundered chiefly when to thee I kneel. But best felicity is his thy praise, who art thus unaware in works and ways, who laborare est orare proves, and feels thy situation wheresoever he moves, serving thy purpose, not thine altar still, and working for he thinks that his thy will. If such a life of blessings be not fraught, I envy Peter Robertson for naught. A Vision of Climate by Ambrose Bierce. I dreamed that I was poor and sick and sad, broken in hope and weary of my life. Adventures all miscarrying naught, had for all my labour and the heat and strife. And in my heart some certain thoughts arrive of an unsummoned exit. As I lay considering my bitter state, I cried, "Alas, what have I did ever stray? Better in some fair country to have died, than live in such a land where fortune never, unless he be successful, crowns endeavour." Then, even as I lamented low, there came a troop of presents, I knew not whence, nor what they were. Thought cannot rightly name what's known through spiritual evidence, reported not by gross material sense. Why come ye here? I seemed to cry, for naught my sleeping tongue did utter. To the first, what are ye, and for what woeful message fraught? Ye have a ghastly look, as ye had burst some sepulchral memory. Weird creatures, I'm sure I'd know you if ye had but features. Some subtle organ note at a reply, inaudible to ear or flesh the tone. The finest climate in the world am I, from Siskiyou to San Diego known, from the Sierra to the sea. The zone called semi-tropical I've pulled about and placed it where it does most good, I trust. I shake my never-failing bounty out alike upon the just and the unjust. That's very true, said I then 'tis shaken my shabby the unjust is ever taken. Permit me, I resumed, now to praise my eldest son, the champagne atmosphere, and others to rebuke your discontent. A mammoth squash, strawberry all the year, the fair no lighting flashing only here. The holds a earthquake in the Italian sky with its unstriking sun, and last not least, the compos mentis dog. Now integrate, try to bring a better stomach to the feast. When nature makes a dance and pays the piper, to be unhappy is to be a viper. Why, yet, said I, of all your blessings fine, and heaven forbid that I should speak them ill, I yet am poor and sick and sad. You shine with more of splendour than of heat, for still, although my will is warm, my bones are chill. And warm you with enthusiasm blaze, fortune waits not on toil, they cried. Or when join the wild chorus clamouring our praise, throw up your beaver and throw down your pen. Begone, I shouted. They bent, smirking, and I, awakening, fell straight a working. A warning by Ambrose Bierce. Cried age to youth, abate your speed, the distance however is brief indeed, but youth press on without delay, the shouted reached but half away. A welcome by Ambrose Bierce. Because you call yourself Knights Templar, there's neither knight nor temple in the land, because you thus by vain pretense degrade to paltry purposes traditions grant, because to cheat the ignorant you say, the thing that's not, elated still to sway, the crass credulity of gaping fools and ruined by fantastical display, because on sacred fires that warm your hearts, high knightly service to perform, woman's breast or cover of a man the only still you dare to storm, because while railing still at lord and peer, a pomp and fastened feathers while you jeer, each member of her order tries to graft a peacock's tail upon his barren rear, because it's all these things of us and so, amid you're welcome to our city low, you're free to come, you're free to stay, and free as soon as it shall please you, sirs, to go. A year's Casualties by Ambrose Bierce. Slain as the lay by the secret, slow, pitiless hand of an unseen foe, to score of thousands old soldiers have crossed the river to join the loved and lost. In the space of a year the spirits fled, silent and white as the camp of the dead. One after one they fall asleep, and the pensioned agents awake to weep, and often statesmen aloud in the vale, as the souls flit by on the evening gale. O Father of battles, pray give us release from the horrors of peace, the horrors of peace. Accepted by Ambrose Bierce. Charles Shortridge once to St. Peter came. Down, cried the saint with his face aflame. 'Tis writ with every hardly liar shall dwell forever and ever in fire. It's what I said the night that I died, the sinner turning away replied. What, you said that? Cried the saint. What? You said it was so writ, and faith 'tis not. I'm a devil of quoting, but I begin to fail in my memory, pray walk in. Again by Ambrose Bierce. When I've met her again at the mission, she told me to see her no more. It was not a command, a petition, it granted it once before. It's granted it, hoping she'd rid me, repenting a virtuous freak, subdued myself daily and nightly for the better part of a week. And then 'twas my duty to spare her the shame of recalling me. I just sought her again to prepare her for an everlasting goodbye. Of that evening of bliss shall I ever forget it with Shakespeare and Poe? She said, when it was ended, you're never to see me again, and now go. As we parted with kisses, 'twas human and natural for me to smile as I thought, she's in love, and a woman, she'd send for me after a while. She didn't. It's so well, the mission is fine, picturesque and grey. It's an excellent place for contrition, and sometimes she passes that way. It's so secure that I met her, and that there is to tell except I'd like to forget her. Calm way of remarking, I'm well. It was hardly worthwhile, all this keying my soul to such tensions and stirs, to learn that her food was agreeing with that little stomach of hers. An Actor by Ambrose Bierce. Some once hardly knew, as oddly said, the colour of a trumpet's blare is red. And Joseph Emmet thinks the crimson shame on woman's cheek a trumpet note of fame. The more red storm rises round her nose, the more eyes averted seek her toes. A fancy so louder he can hear, it resounding in his spacious ear, and all his very talents to exert, darkens his stillness to display his dirt. And then the galleries indecent crowd, and gentlemen below, with hisses loud, and hot contention, weaves his art to crown, and vows his naked nastiness to drown, make such a din that cheeks of well aflame grow wide, and in their fear forgot their shame. With impudence imperial, sublime, unmoved, the patient actor bides his time, till storm and counterstorm are both allayed, like donkeys, each by the other one not brayed. When all the place is silent as the mouse, one slow suggestive gesture clears the house. An Average by Ambrose Bierce. Ere could be entirely fond of any maiden who's a blonde, a brunette ere I saw her charms my heart so warm to draw. Yet sure no girl was ever made just half of light and half of shade, and so was happy mean to get a the blonde and a brunette. An enemy to law and order by Ambrose Bierce. As defrauded of his land by B, was driven from the premises by C. D buys the place of coin of plundered E. Its ace and anarchist says F to G. An example by Ambrose Bierce. There were two deaf mutes, and they laughed, and they resolved to be groom and bride. They listened to nothing that any could say, nor ever a word replied. Wedlock, when warned by the married man, maintained an invincible mind. Be deaf and dumb until wedded, and then be deaf and dumb and blind. An interpretation by Ambrose Bierce. No longer can it pierce upon the boards, and truth and error shift the lingual swords. No more in wordy warfare to engage, the commentators spoke before the stage, and bookworms, militant for ages past, confessed their equal foolishness at last, reread their Shakespeare in the newer light, and saw the meanings obvious to sight. For centuries the question has been hot, was Hamlet crazy or was Hamlet not? No longer can disseminated art reveal the truth of a disputed part, and shows to all the critics of the earth that Hamlet was an idiot from birth. An Unmerry Christmas by Ambrose Bierce. Christmas, they tell me, comes but once a year. On place it never comes, and that is here. Here in this pages no good wishes spring, no well-born greetings tediously ring. For Christmas greetings are like pots of ore. The hollow they are, they ring the more. Here shall no holy cast a spiny shade, no mistletoe my solitude invade. No trinket-laden vegetable come, a Rome steam with shiolet of rum. No shrilling children shall the voices rear, or rather Christmas without Christmas cheer. No presents, if you please. I know too well what Herbert Spencer, if he didn't tell, I know not if he did, yet might have told, of present giving in the days of old, when early men with gifts prohibited, the chiefs so most he doubted, feared and hated, or tendered them in hope to reach some rude advantage from a tanker's gratitude. Since thus the gift its origins derives, how much of its first character survives, you know as well as I. My stockings tight, my pocket buttoned with soul inside, I save my money and I save my pride. Dinner, yes thanks, you just a human body done to a nutty brown, dear toddy, to give me appetite. As for drink, above a half a jug of blood I think will do, for still I love a red wine, cold jolting well, with wrinkles fine, fretting the satin surface of its flood. O top of kings divine, Falernian blood. Views take the shouting folds upon the limb, kneeling cattle and the rising hymn. Has not the pagan rights to be regarded, his heart assaulted and his ear bombarded, as sentiments and sounds that good old Pan even in his demonium would ban? Now, friends, now Christmas here, for I have sworn to keep my heart hard and my knees unworn. Enough you have of jester, player, priest, I as the skeleton attend your feast, and the mad revel to make a lull of shaking finger and with bobbing skull. Ever you may, service may float, philosophy disdain and reason dote. I mean to hold in customary state medicinal revelry and celebrate, where get it right, until the crack go doom, ignore the cheerful season's warmth and bloom and cultivate an oasis of gloom. Another Plan by Ambrose Bierce. Editor Owen of St. Joe's, commonly known as our friend J.J., earning of scribbling for daily bread, weary of writing what nobody read, slept one day at his desk and dreamed that an angel before him stood and beamed with compassionate eyes upon him where. Editor Owen is not so fair in feature, expression of form or limb, a glance like that are familiar to him, and so derived by the shortest route, at his visitor's will he said, simply toot. Editor Owl, the angel said, scribble no more for daily bread. Your intellect staggers and falls and bleeds, the way of writing what nobody reads. As you know the quill in the come years, lies men through his idle ears. Go lecture just what I intended to do, said Owen. The angel looked, pained, and flew. Editor Owen of St. Joe's, commonly known as our friend J.J., scribbled no more too subtly his needs, a way of writing what nobody reads, passes of life each golden year, speaking what nobody comes to hear. Another Way by Ambrose Bierce. I lay in silence, dead. A woman came and laid a rose upon my breast and said, May God be merciful. She spoke my name and added, It is strange to think him dead. He loved me well enough, it was his way to speak it lightly. Then beneath her breath, Besides, I knew what further she would say, I when a footfall broke my dream of death. Today the words are mine. I lay the rose upon her breast and speak her name, and deem it strange indeed that she is dead. God knows I had more pleasure in the other dream. Art by Ambrose Bierce. For Gladstone's portrait £5,000 were paid, it is said, to Sir John Millais. I cannot help thinking that such fine patrons can at reason set her most bones, for it seems to me uncommonly queer that the painted British statesman's price exceeds the established value thrice of a living statesman over here. At Anchor by Ambrose Bierce. The soft as Felderman, the sun betrays a tendency to run, whereas the dog that takes his way across its course concludes to stay. At the 11th Hour by Ambrose Bierce, as through the blue expanse he skims and joy's wings, the late-ring hutchings overtakes Miss Sims, both bound for heaven's high gate. And life he laughed, and God knows why a lover so should sue, he slew her on the gallows high, died Pierce, and they flew. Her pinions were bedraggled, solid and torn as by a gale, while his the bridle freshly oiled the feathers of his tail. Visage too was stained and worn, and menacing and grim, as sweet and mild you would have sworn that she had murdered him. When Wade arrived before the gate, he said to her, "My dear, it is hard once more to separate, and you can't enter here. For you unluckily were sent so quickly to the grave, you had no notice to repent, no time your soul to save." "It is true," said she, "and I should wail in hell, even now, and I have lingered round the county jail to see a Christian die." "Authority," by Ambrose Bierce. "Authority, authority," they showed, whose minds not large enough to hold doubt, some chance opinion that I entertain, a dogma builded upon their brain. "Ah," they exclaim with choretic glee, "yes, Debster you won't give in to me, Debster, Sir Debster, to whom all men look with reverence. A fellow wrote a book. It matters not that many other wit has thought more deeply, could more wisely write, on the other side that you yourself possess, knowledge of a Debster that but faintly guess. God help you if ambitious to persuade the fools to take opinion, ready-made, and recognize authorities. Be sure not tittled of a folly well abjure for all that you can say, but write it down, publish, die, and get a great renown. Faith, whole snap it up, misread, misquote, swear they had a hand in all you wrote, and write your fame like monkeys on a goat." Bold Brains by Ambrose Bierce. Rider folk across the bay take the pains to see and say all the upward palms in air. Jocko Miller's cut his hair, hasten, rider folk, and the gutters rake and poke, through God's exceeding grace, you may hit upon the place, and the barber through at length heaven's literary strength. Find it if you can, have a successful man. He has but to put one strand in his beaver's inner band, and his intellect will soar as it never did before. While an inch of it remains, he will know to be for brains, and at last, 'twill so befall, fit to choose to write at all. Business by Ambrose Bierce. Two villains of the highest rank set out one night to rob a bank. I found the building, locked the door, each window noted, tried each door, scanned carefully the little hole from minstrels to cascade of coal, in short, examined 25 could pass from poverty to plenty. But all were sealed, they saw full soon against the minions of the moon. "Enough," said one, "I'm satisfied." The other, smiling fair and wide, said, "I'm as highly pleased as you, no burglar ever can get through. Fate surely prospers our design, for you all is yours and mine." So full of hope, the following day to exchange they took their way, and board with manner free and frank, some stock of that devoted bank, they became inside of a year one president and one cashier. Their crime I cannot further trace, the means of safety to embrace, I overdrew and left the place. Cain by Ambrose Bierce. Lord, shed the light upon this desert path, and gild his branded brow, that no man spill his forfeit life to beg the holy will, that spares him for the ripening of wrath. Already, lo, the red sign is descried, to trembling jurors visibly revealed, a prison doors obediently yield, the Eleventh Hangman flings the cord aside. Pound the brother's blood that marks your trail, hark how it cries against you from the ground, like the far baying of a tireless hound. Faith to your ear, it is no nightingale. What signifies the date upon a stone? Tomorrow you should die, if not today. What matter than the avenger chose to slay, or soon or late the devil gets his own? Whenceforth for all eternity you'll hold no one advantage of the latter death. Though you had granted Ralph another breath, would he today assign lying cold? Earth cares not cursed assassin when you die. You never will be ready, I will know. Work in God's name that mark upon your brow, and keep the life you purchased with a lie. California by Ambrose Bierce. How should he not have been allowed to thread with peaceful feet the crowd which filled that Christian street? Like how Loki had observed, for faith in Jesus had not swerved, and scorning pious platitudes, they served the Beatitudes, lamp to guide his feet. And knew that Jonah downed the whale, and made no bones of it. The tale that Aeneas told he saw was true, and no doubt that Daniel laid the lions out. In short, he had all holiness, and meekness, and all lowliness, and was of saints en route. 'Tis true, some slight excess of zeal, sincerely to promote the weal of his most Christian state, had moved him rudely to divide the key that was the pageant's pride, and in addition certify the faith by making sure to fly from paled as well as paid. But Heavenly Father, thou dost know that in this town these actions go for nothing worth a name. Nay, every editorial to prove that they never came to pass will damn his soul eternally, although in his own journal he may read the printed shame. From bloody hands the reins of power fall slack, the high deceit of hour strikes not four liars' ears. Remove the father the disgrace that stains so California's face, and consecrate to human good the strength for young womanhood in all her golden years. Christian by Ambrose Bierce. A dream there stood upon a hill and low, the godly multitudes walked to and fro, beneath in Sabbath garments fitly clad, abuse being appropriately said, all the church bells made a solemn din, a fire alarm to those who lived in sin. When Sir gazing thoughtfully below, with tranquil face upon that holy show, a tall, spare figure in a robe of white, whose eyes diffused a melancholy light. God keep you, stranger, I exclaimed, ye unadoped, habit showed from afar, and to entertain the hope that you, like these good people, are a Christian too. He raised his eyes, and with a look so stern, it made me with 1,000 blushes burn, replied, as manner with disdain was spiced, what, I a Christian? Now indeed I'm Christ. Codex Honoris by Ambrose Bierce. Jacob Jacobs of Oakland he swore that Solomon Martel I'd have a score. Solomon Martin of Oakland he said, of Jacobs the bleed I will shed. So they met with second and surgeon at call, and fought with pistol and powder and all. Was done in good faith, as before I said, they fought with pistol and powder and shed tears. All my friends for each other they marred, fighting with pistol and powder and blood. For the lead had been stolen away, the trace, and Christian hawk product supplied its place, and the shade of Moses indignant arose, quicker than lightnings could quench your glows. Jacob Jacobs of Oakland, they say, applied for pension the following day. Solomon Martin of Oakland, I hear, called himself colonel for many a year. Consolation by Ambrose Bierce. Little's the good to sit in grief because the serpent tempted Eve. Better to wipe your eyes than take a club and go out and kill a snake. What do you gain by cursing Nick for playing us such a scurvy trick? That they go out and some villain find who serves the devil and beat him blind. And if you prefer, as I suspect, to philosophize, or then reflect, if a cunning rascal upon the limb hadn't tempted her, she'd have tempted him. Constancy by Ambrose Bierce. Dull were the days and sober, the mountains were brown and bare, for the season was sad October and the dirge was in the air. The mated starlings flew over to the isles of the southern sea. She wept for warrior lover, wept and exclaimed, Ah me! Long years have I mourned my darling in his battle bed and rest, and it's oh to be his darling, with a mate to share my nest. The angels bid high to soar, restoring her warrior's life, and he came to her arms on the morrow to claim her and take her to wife. An aged lover, a portly, bold lover, a trifle too stiff, have manners that would have been courtly and would have been graceful, if the angels had only restored him without the additional years that had passed since the enemy bored him to death with the long sharp spears. As it was, he brought her, and she rambled away with father's young groom, and the old lover smiled as he ambled contentedly back to the tomb. Contemplation by Ambrose Bierce. I mused upon the distant town in many a dreamy mood. Above my head the sunbeams crown the graveyard's giant root. The lupin blooms among the tombs, the grey records that brood. How good it is to sit and trace the shadow of a cross. It moves so still from place to place, o'er marble, bronze, and moss, with graves to mark upon its arc our time's eternal loss. And sweet it is to watch the bee that reaves in a rose, and sends the fragrance floating free on every breeze that blows, or many a mound where safe and sound when enemies repose. Cooperation by Ambrose Bierce. No more the swindler singly seeks as prey to hunt in couples in the modern way, a rascal from public to purloin, honest men to hide away the coin. Creation by Ambrose Bierce. God dreamed the suns spring the flaming into place, and sending words of many adventurous race, he woke his smile alone illumined space. Detected by Ambrose Bierce. In Congress once great Morpheter shone, debating weighty matters. Now into an asylum thrown, he vacuously chatters. If in that legislative hall his wisdom still he'd vented, it never had been known at all, and Morpheter was demented. Diagnosis by Ambrose Bierce. Cried Alan Foreman, Doctor, pray, compose my spirit's strife, or what may be my chances, say, of living all my life? For lately I've dreamed of fire and hemp in dissolution. Oh, doctor, doctor, how can I amend my constitution? The learned leech replied, You're young and beautiful and strong, when to inspect your tongue. Ah, then, slaw. Died of a Rose by Ambrose Bierce. A reporter he was, and he wrote he, The grave was covered as thick as could be with floral tributes, which reading the editor May he said he did so, for floral tributes he's got for to go, for how the sin misleading. When he called him in and he pointed sweet to a blooming garden across the street, inquiring, "What's them a-growing?" Reporter had said, "Why, where's your eyes? Those floral tributes, arise, arise." Editor said, "Be going." Disappointment by Ambrose Bierce. The Senate woke, the chairman's snore was stilled, its echoes bulking. The startled members dreamed no more, for Steele, who long had held the floor, had suddenly ceased talking. As like Elijah in his pride, he to his seat was passing. "God for Baldhead!" Reddy cried. When 6 fierce beers ensued and tried to sunder him for cessing. 2 seized his legs and 1 his hair, the 4th his trunk to munch on, the 5th preferred an arm instead. The last with roof of visage said, "Pay would have I for luncheon." Then to that disappointed beer said Steele, serene and chipper, "I find it should not lack your share. Look in the treasury, where you'll find his other flipper." Egoist by Ambrose Bierce. Megacliff, chosen to serve his state, walls of legislative debate, one day with his credentials came to the Capitol's door and announced his name. The doorkeeper looked with a comical twist of the face at the eminent egotist, and said, "Go away, for we settle here all manners of question, not inquiry, and we cannot have, when the speaker demands, to know how every member stands. Man who to all things under the sky assents by eternal voting, aye." Election Day by Ambrose Bierce. The spouts feed upon tottering thrones, unsteadily poison upon dead men's bones. Walk up, the circus is free, and this wonderful spectacle you shall see. Millions of voters, who mostly are fools, demagogues, dupes, and candidates to it. Armies of uniformed mountebanks, and braying disciples of brainless cranks. Many weak with bellow like beeves, bitterly blackguarding, lying like thieves, libeling freely the quick and the dead, and painting the New Jerusalem red. Tyrants, monarchical, emperors, kings, princes and nobles, and all such things. Noblemen, gentlemen, step this way, with nothing the devil expected to pay, and freaks and curious here to be seen are very uncommonly grand and serene. No more with vivacity they debate, nor cheerful crack the illogical paid, no longer the dull understanding to aid, the stomach accepts the instructive blade, nor the stubborn heart learns what is what from the relation of rabbit shot, and vilification's flames behold, burned with the bicking faint and cold. Magnificent spectacle, every tongue suddenly civil with yesterday rung, like a clapper beating a brazen bell. Each fair reputation's eternal knell, hands no longer delivering blows, and noses for counting error and rose. Woke up, gentlemen, nothing to pay, but it goes back to hell today. Exoneration by Ambrose Bierce. A man at candidates don't conneve from that suspicion if the friends would free him, that even nails of them they did not strive should be exhibited in a museum. Expositor Veritatis by Ambrose Bierce. I slept, and waking in the years to be, heard voices, and approaching whence they came, listened indifferently where a key had lately been removed. Ancient James said to her daughter, "Go to yonder caddy, get some myrrh to score your daddy." When I knew, some intuition said, the tombs were not, men had cleared their shelves of urns, and the electro-plated dead stood pedalters the statues of themselves. The famous dead men on the public places were thronged, and some piles away the bases. One mighty structure's high facade alone contained a single monumental niche, where sunk in that steep expanse of stone gleamed the familiar form of Thomas Fitch. A man cried, "Lo, Truth's temple and its founder," and gravely added, "I am a chief expounder." Fallen by Ambrose Bierce. Heads for died from the woebed great, and at their feet a nation knelt, to stop the gratitude it felt, and thank the Saviour of the state. Gods might have envied thee thy fate. And also laurel round thy brow, and friend and foe spoke praise of we. All our hearts sang victory. Alas, thou art too base to bow, to hide the shame that brands it now. Fame by Ambrose Bierce. He held a book in his naughty paws, and its title grand read he, The Chronicles of a King, others were the History Company. "I'm a monarch," he said, "but a tear is shed, I'm a picture here you see. Great and lasting is mine renown, however wits may float, as wide almost as its blessing tone, but he wins as if with gold. I paid them like sin, for they put me in, but it's to be out." Fate by Ambrose Bierce. Alas, alas, for the tourist's guide, he turned from the beaten trail aside, wandering, bewildering, lay down and died. How grim is the irony of fate, it switches the man of low estate and loosens the dogs upon the grate. Lights of fire into roast the cook, the fisherman squirms upon the hook, and the flirt is slain with a tender look. The undertaker it overtakes, the settlers the cavaliers, makes the haughtiest butchers into steaks. Assist me, gods, to bark the decree, nothing I'll do and nothing I'll be, and out of it nothing be done to me. France by Ambrose Bierce. Unhappy state with horror still to strive, a Hugo dead with longer life, a prince who'd govern where he dares not dwell, and who for power would his bride right sell, who anxious o'er his enemies to reign, grabs at the scabbard and conceals the chain. Poignant factions mutually strive by cutting throats to keep the land alive. Reserve and passion, as and pride preserve, to all a mistress, to himself a curse. Sweetheart of Europe, every son's embrace matures the charm poison of her grace. A time to thee no peace nor wisdom brings, and blood of citizens and blood of kings stones of thy stability are set, and the fair fabric travels at a thread. From Virginia to Paris by Ambrose Bierce. The polecat, sovereign of its native wood, dashes damnation upon bad and good. The health of all the upas trees impairs by exhalations deadlier than theirs. Poisons the rattlesnake and wards the toad, the creeks go rotten and the rocks corrode. She shakes our breathless hill and shrinking dale, the howler's pagans of her tail. I will saturated hair, till dry, the Spartan friends and seas, divergent fly, deafen the earth and scream along the sky. Removed to alien scenes, amid the strife of urban odors to ungladden life, aghast sewers and dead dogs conspire, the flesh to torture and the soul to fire, where all the well-defined and several stings, known to mankind, hold revel in high drinks, humbled in spirit, smitten with a sense of lost distinction, leveled eminence, she suddenly resigns the baleful trust, never lays again no mortal dust. Her powers atrophied, her vigour sunk, she lives, dear to rise, sweet as skunk. Hell by Ambrose Bierce. A friend who stood about my bed looked down upon my face and said, God's will be done, the fellow's dead. From body I was free, I straightway felt myself for me, sink downward to the life to be. For 20 centuries I fell, and when I lighted, here you dwell, for a voice cried, This is hell. A landscape lay about my feet, where trees were green and flowers sweet, the climate was devoid of heat. The sun looked down with gentle beam upon the bosom of a strain, nor saw I any sign of stem. The waters by the skyward hinged, the hills of light and colour fringed, birds warbled on the wing unsinged. I know this is not hell, I cried, the preacher's less a great delight, this earth's spirit glorified. Good soul, do not in hates dwell, and look, there's John P. Irish. Well, the voice said, that's what makes it hell. History by Ambrose Bierce. What wrecked the Roman power? One says vice, another indolence, another dice. A Mescal says polygamy not so, says Bierce it was luxury and show. The parson, lifting up a brow of brass, swears superstition gave the cope to grass. Great Ellison the statesmanship affirms, there's lack of coins, Crook's medical truth worms. And John P. Jones, with swift suggestions call us, arriving when no coins were silver dollars. Thus through the ages each presumption quake turns the poor corpse upon his rotten back. Out in the autopsy and finds the death resulted partly from a want of breath, but chief from some visitation sad that points his argument or serves as fed. There, all that error never human mind the cause the disaster has divined. What slew the Roman power, well provided you'll keep the secret, I will tell you I did. Hospitality by Ambrose Bierce. Why ask me guest to go, dine, unless to praise your rascal wine, and never ask some luckless sinner who needs, as I do not, a dinner? Humility by Ambrose Bierce. Great poets file the world with faggots big, that make a crackling racket, and I'm content with but a whispering trick to warm some single jacket. In High Life by Ambrose Bierce. Simply Lackland from over the sea, as Literary Hangman Miss Bloody Blondie, awaiting to place at the church of Saint Blair, the fashion, rank, and the wealth for all there. No person was absent of all whom one meets. Lord Mammon himself bowed them into their seats, where good Sir John Satan attended the door, and Saxon bells but managed the floor, respectfully keeping each dog to its ruck, preserving the peace between poodle and pug. 12 bridesmaids escorted the bride up the aisle, the blush in her blush and the smile in a smile. 12 groomsmen supported the eminent groom, the skull and gloom in his gloom. A wreath performed by the hand and the lip of his grace Viscount the Billingham Pip, assisted by 3 able-bodied divines. He prayed and they granted, he read, we made signs. Such fashion, such beauty, such dressing, such grace, I never before seen in that heavenly place. That night, full of gin and all blazing inside, Sir Bierce to blacken the eyes of his bride. In His Hand by Ambrose Bierce. De Jong in Chicago, the story is told, took his life in his hand like a warrior bold, and stood before Buckley, who fought him behind, for Buckley, the man-eating monster, is blind. Count fairly the ballads, so rang the demand of a gallant the young, with his life in his hand. It is done, and the struggle is ended. The more he havocs the battlefield, kills with the gore of slain reputations, the more he defies his lying opponents with deadlier lies. His trumpet is hushed, and his belt is unbound, his enemies' characters come with a groan. A blood and warplane with ink water soak, a fortunate candidate's perching to croak. The more he will charge with daring divine, his foes with corruption, his friends by the line. A thunder so stilled of a horrid campaign, young is triumphed, and never again will he need, with his life in his hand, roar, Count Ferrand, by G, die on your floor. His life has been spared for his sins to atone, and the hand that he took it and washed of cologne. Incurable, by Ambrose Bierce. From pride, joy, hate, greed, melancholy, or any kind of vice or folly, bias, propensity, or passion, that is in prevalence in fashion, save one the sufferer or lover, may by the grace of God recover. A laundered spirit setter, the zeal to make creation better, grows still in decay with warmer, who knows of the reformer. Industrial Discontent, by Ambrose Bierce. As time rolled on, the whole world came to be a desolation and a darksome curse, and someone said, the changes that you see in the fair frame of things from bad to worse are wrought by strikes. The sun withdrew his glimmer because the moon assisted with her shimmer. Then, when poor Luna is straining very hard, double to light to serve the darkling world, he called her scab, and meanly would retard her rising, and at last the villain hurled a heavy beam, which knocked her hour line and a nebula of great Orion. The planets all had struck some time before, demanding what we said the equal rights. Some pointed out that others had for more, that a fair dividing of satellites. So all went out, or those the best provided, if they had dared, would rather have abided. The stars struck too. I think it was because the comets had more liberty than they, were not bound by any hampering laws, while they were fixed, and there are those who say the comet's dresses nettled poor Altair, and aged orbit hasn't any hair. The Earth's the only one that isn't in the movement, I suppose because she's watched of horror and disguised her fair skin, and pregnant parasites of food and blotched with blood and grease and heavy labor riot, and seeing any pearls that flow to fly it. Judgment, by Ambrose Bierce. I drew aside the future's veil and saw upon his briar, a poet of Whitman, allowed to wail and then the falling tear. He's dead, he is no more, one cried, if soft of sorrow cramped. No more, he's this much more, replied another, he's damned. Mad, by Ambrose Bierce. O ye who push and fight to your wanton sing, water the delight that has bogus ring, O men with human years and understanding young, the remembrance of whose ears she tickles with her tongue, O wives and daughters sweet who call it love of art to kiss a woman's feet and crush a woman's heart, O prudent damsels sirs, your child young who brings to see how man admires a sinner if she sings, A husband who impart to each assenting spouse the lesson that shall start with the buds upon your brows, all those applauding hands, history of a fame that throws o'er the land the shadow of its shame, go drag a car of a mud, the which its exit roll, it's partly human blood and partly human souls. Mad, mad, your senses whirl like devils dancing free, because a strong girl can hold the note high C. For this the avenging rod of heaven ye edify, and here the loved God thundered from Sinai. Montefiore, by Ambrose Bierce. I saw 'twas in a dream the other night, a man who said of age was thin and white. 100 years had the better by his birth, and still his step was firm, his eye was bright. Before men about him pressed a crowd, each head in reverence was bared and bowed, and Jews and Gentiles in 100 tons extolled his deeds and spake his fame aloud. I joined the throng and, pushing forward, cried, Montefiore, with the rest, in vehement efforts to curse the hand that ne'er to want and worth had charity denied. So closely round him swarmed our shouting clan, he scarce could breathe, and taking from a pan a gleaming coin, he tossed it o'er our heads, and in the moment was a lonely man. My Lord Poet, by Ambrose Bierce. Who drives fat oxen should himself be fed, or sings for nobles he should noble be. There's no squanter, I think, in that, and that is logic plain as ABC. Hector Stuart, your Scottish prince, have right you fathom your descant that fall from grace. And since you have no peers, and since you have no kind of nobleness at all, 'twere better to sing a little, lest you wince, than made by heartless critics to sing small. And yet, my lyric, I bid you not despair, ambitious conquerors but a realm at once. For European base, arrange your hair to continents, and time shall crown you dance. My Monument, by Ambrose Bierce. It is pleasant to think, as I'm watching my ink a-drying along my paper, when the monument fine will surely be mine when death has extinguished my taper. From each rhyming scribe of a journalist tribe, purge clean of all sentiments narrow, and pebble with marks respect for the stark, stiff body of its honor the bearer. A thoroughbard's frown was stone upon stone will make my celebrity deathless. Oh, I wish I could think as I gazed at my ink, and wait till my carcass is breathless. Not Guilty by Ambrose Bierce. I saw your charms in another's arms, said a Grecian swain with his blood aboil, and you kissed your fair as he held you where a willing bird in a serpent's coil. The maid looked up from the cinctured cup when she was crushing the berries red. Pain and surprise in honest eyes, it was only one of those gods, she said. Novum Organum by Ambrose Bierce. Bacon see the culminating prime of Anglo-Saxon intellect and crime. He dies in nature, settling his affairs, parts his endowments among us his hairs. To everyone a pinch of brain for seed, and to develop it a pinch of greed. Each thrifty heir, to make the gift suffice, bears the talent to manure the wise. On Stone by Ambrose Bierce. As in a dream strange epitaphs I see, inscribed in yet unquoted stone, but with the flowers yet unstrown to Camposanto for time to be. One Judge by Ambrose Bierce. Wallace created a noble plan to show us that a judge can be a man. For mortal mire exhaling mortal stench, God guided sweet and foot clean to the bench. And salutation here and sign I lift, the hand is free as yours from lawless thrift. A heart I would I truly could proclaim, was blighted with so pure a flame. A lust not love of justice moves my pen to praise or to condemn my fellow man. Good will and ill, its busy point inside, I do but gratify whim when I write. Appellation, though at humble state, I love the righteous and the wicked hate. So, sir, all that we dither we agree, a work alike from persecutions free, and heaven approving you consents to me. Take wherefore from this not all useless hand the crown of honour, not in all the land, one honest man dissenting from the choice, and on approval one thread a crocker's voice. One mood's expression by Ambrose Bierce. See, Lord, fanatics all arrayed for a revolution, to foil their villainous crusade, unsheathes again the sacred blade of persecution. What thou through long disuse didst groan a trifle rusty, gainst modern hearsay, whose bone is rotten and the flesh fly blown, it still is trusty, or sterner stuff than ancient foes, and apprehensive spring forth to meet the biting blows, or zealous chiefly to the noise assume the offence. And wields the blade of the next to hack, never spare one, by crowns of martyrdom unpack, but see where every muff or lack the head to wear one. One Morning by Ambrose Bierce. Because that I am weak, my love, and ill, I cannot follow the impatient feet of my desire, but sit and watch the beat of the unpitying pendulum for Sylvia, appointed for the air to thrill and brighten at your coming. O my sweet, the tale of moments is at last complete, the tryst is broken on the gusty hill. O lady faithful-footed and loyal-eyed, the long leagues silence me. Yet doubt me not, think rather that the clock and sun have light, and all too early you have sought the spot, for lo, despair has darkened all the light, and till I see your face, it is still as night. One President by Ambrose Bierce. What a woes, father, statesman, my child, lachrymose and parliamentary wild. What a way that way for, father, last fall our candidates better, they said, than all. What did they say he was, father? A man built on a strange, incorruptible plan, believing that none from office would do, unless he were honest and capable too. Poor gentlemen, so disappointed. Yes, that is the feeling that's driving them mad. A weeping and wailing, gnashing because they find that he's all that they said that he was. Over the Border by Ambrose Bierce. O justice, you have fled to dwell in Mexico, unstranged, lest you should hang as high as well as Haman dangled. And know not if his court he twangled, or the king proved forgiving. 'Tis hard to think of Haman hanged and Haman living. Yes, as I said, in mortal fear, to Mexico you journeyed, for you were on your trial here, and ill attorneyed. The law had long regarded you as an extreme offender, religion looked upon you too with thoughts untender. Oppressed to you was coldest snow, for sin you'd always called so, and politics you were the drop, and mortals also. All this is accurately true, and faith, there might be more said, but, well, to save your rebel you fled, as aforesaid. You down Mexico, that's plain, as that the sun is rising, for Daniel burns down where his chain drags around in prison. Poesy by Ambrose Bierce. Successive bards pursue ambition's fire that shines, believe him above the mire. The latest mounts his predecessor's trunk, and thinks his brother himself is sunk. So die ingloriously famous elite, the dams of duns keep the line complete. Political Economy by Ambrose Bierce. "I beg you to note," said the man to a goose, as he plucked from a bosom the plumage or loose, "that pillows and cushions are feathers and beds, as warm as maids' hearts and as soft as their hands. Increase of life's comforts the general sum, which raises the standard of living. Come, come." The goose said impatiently, "Tell me your cheese, how that is of any advantage to G's." What, said the man, you are very obtuse. Consumption a profit to those who produce, no good to a cure to supply from a grand progressive expansion all round of demand. Luxurious habits no benefit brings to those who purvey the luxurious thing. Consider, I pray you, my friend, how the growth of luxury promises growth. The sufferer what to what cause is pledged to pay me for being so often defledged? Accustomed, this notion the plucker expressed as he wiped out a handful down from her breast, to one kind of luxury people soon yearn, for others and ever for evers in turn. The man who tonight on your feathers will rest, is mutton or bacon or beef to digest, is hunger tomorrow will wish to assuage, by dining on gruse with a dressing of saunge. Politics, by Ambrose Bierce. That land full surely hastens to its end, the public score funds on the marsh bend, the poplars to flatter, and repeat the double echoes of its loud conceit. Lowly their attitude, but high their aim, they creep to eminence for paths of shame, to fix securely in the seats of power, the dupes were flattered, they at last devour. Prayer, by Ambrose Bierce. Fear not in any time to call upon the Lord, he is skilled in all, but if he answereth my plea, he speaketh one unknown to me. Presentiment, by Ambrose Bierce. With saintly grace and reverent tread, she walked among graves with me. Her very footfall seemed to be a benediction on the dead. The guardian spirit of the place she seemed, like some ghost forlorn, surprised by the untimely morn, she made her fair resplendent face. Moved by some waywardness of will, 3 paces from the path apart, she stepped and stood, my precedent heart was stricken with a passing chill. My childhood lore of the years agone remembering, I smiled and thought, who shudders suddenly ignored his grave is being trod upon. But now I know that it was more than idle fancy. Oh, my sweet, I did not know such little feet could make a buried heart so sore. Psychographs, by Ambrose Bierce. Says Gerald Masai, when I write a band of souls of the departed guides my hand, how strange that poems cumbering our shelves, penned by immortal parts, have none themselves. Edified, by Ambrose Bierce. Lord of the tempest, pray refrain from levelling this church again. Now in its doom, as so you've willed it, we acquaintance, but you'll rebuild it. Rejected, by Ambrose Bierce. When Dr. Charles O'Donnell died, they sank a box with him inside. The plate with his initials 3 was simply graven C.O.D. That night 2 demons of a pit down the coal hole shunted it. 10 million leagues that fell, alighted at the gate of hell. Nick looked upon it with surprise, a night storm darkening his eyes. "I've sent this rubbish C.O.D. I'll never pay a cent," said he. Reminded, by Ambrose Bierce. Beneath my window twilight made familiar mysteries of shade. Faint voices from the darkening dawn were calling vaguely to the town. Intent upon a low far gleam that burned upon the world's extreme, I sat with short reprieve from grief, and turned the volume leaf by leaf, when a hand long dead had wrought a million miracles of thought. My fingers carelessly unclung the lettered pages, and among them wondered a witless nor divined if the wealth in which poor fools were minded. The soul which should have led their quest was dreaming in the level west, where tall towers, stark and still, uplifted on the distant hills, stood lone and passionless to claim its guardian star's returning flame. I know not how my dream was broke, but suddenly my spirit woke, filled with a foolish fear to look upon the handled cloth book, significantly pointing next, a bend attentive to the text, and read, as the reed grew old, the mindless words, "Poor Tom's a cold." It was a subtle touch, the brimming cup resigns its clutch upon the wine. Dear God, is writ, that hearts where our burden be of bitterness, woe permit the pranks of chance, or lurks and nooks, and striking coward blows from books, and dead hands reaching everywhere. Rhymer, by Ambrose Bierce. Rhymer quenches his unheeded fires, the sounds of Jesus and the sense expires. Then the domestic dog to east and west expounds the passions burning in his breast. Rising moon over that enchanted land pauses to hear and yearns to understand. Something in the papers, by Ambrose Bierce. What's in the paper? Oh, it's devilish dull, there's nothing happening at all, a lull after the war storm. Mr. Someone's wife killed by her lover with a finger knife. A fire on Blank Street and some babies, 1, 2, 3, or 4, I don't remember, down to quite a delicate and lovely brown. Husband shot by woman of her town, the same old story. Shipwreck somewhere south. A cruel old saved or lost uncommon drought makes hundreds homeless up a river mud. Oh, come to think, I guess it was a flood. This feared some bank that burst, else it won't, may always burst. I fancy or we don't. Who cares a cent? The banker pays his coin and takes his chances. Bullet in the groin, but that's another item. Suicide fool, lost his money, serve him right and died. Oh, there's North Jerusalem. What's this? Tom Jones has failed. My God, what an abyss of ruin. Owes me 700 clear. Was ever such a damn disastrous year? Strange Relations by Ambrose Bierce. Says England to Germany, Africa's ours. Says Germany, ours I opine. Says Africa, tell me, delectable powers, what is it that ought to be mine? Surprised by Ambrose Bierce. O son of mine age, these eyes lose their fire, be eyes a prey to the dying sire. Father, fear not, for mine eyes are bright, I read from millstone at dead of night. My son, tell me, who are those men rushing like pigs to the feeding pen? I'll come our way of a statesman grand, they'll shake, and then they will poke at his hand. Such Jesus youth, wondrous eye, we seem to throw up the hatchery, why? Because they've thrown up their hands until, oh, we're so tired, and dinners they've none to throw. I said, my son, what dull are mine ears, hear great sound, like the people's cheers. He's thanking them, father, with tears in his eyes, forgiving them lately with fine surprise. My memory fails as I near mine end, how did they astonish their grateful friend? Letting him buy, like apples to oats, with that which has made him so good, the boats, which make him so wise and grand and great. Oh, father, please die, for 'tis growing late. The American Party by Ambrose Bierce. O Marcus de Borg, my hearty, I sympathize with ye, poor lad, and then that shot out of his party is mighty unlucky be dead. And the scowl of that man is said, at Marcus Cousin, ye deserves it, ye know for yourself what ye do, and ye not intending to serve it, and hoping to make it serve you over all of its members was too. The other was pizzled, and surely he said, he's a kite that will sail, and so ye hung till him securely, and Satan the royal of that hail, and there wasn't the ghost of a gale. The party today has behind it a powerful backing, I'm told, but just enough Irish have joined it, and I'm in it to be enrolled to kick you out unto the cold. It's hard on you, darling, I'm thinking, so young, so American too, with bypassing, grinning, and winking, and saying with reference to you, get on to the muffin, Joe. Republicans never will take ye, they had ye for many a year, and Democrats angels forsake ye, if ever ye come about here, and brand ye and scorn of your ear. The Birth of Virtue by Ambrose Bierce. When long ago the young world circling flew through wider reaches of a richer blue, new-eyed the men and maids so manifest thoughts untold in one another's breast. Each wish displayed and every passion learned, a look revealed them as a look discerned. But Satan time with clouds o'ercast their eyes, a desire was hidden and the lips framed lies. A goddess then, emerging from the dust, for virtue rose, the daughter of distrust. Boss's Choice by Ambrose Bierce. Listen to his wild romances. He advances foolish fancies, each expounded as his view. In his brain superfluous clot, he has got a mapper, or the man that used to overwhelm us, Guillermo's. Here's demagogic glamour, hear him stammer in his grammar, teaching you to learn to spell Guillermo's L. Slave who pay the price demanded, with two-handed iron branded by the boss preaches to do us. Guillermo L. Jocosus. Committee on Public Morals by Ambrose Bierce. The Senate met in Sacramento City. On public morals it had no committee, though greatly reese abounded. Soon the quiet was broken by the senators in riot. Not the end of their contagious quarrels was the committee but on public morals. The Debtor Abroad by Ambrose Bierce. Grief for an absent lover, husband, friend, is barely felt before it comes to end. A score of early consultations serve to modify its most dejection curve, and those with creditors and debtors flee, forever swell the separating sea, and standing on an alien shore you mark the steady course of some intrepid bark, how sweet to think it here for you abides, and all unuseful in the wave she rides, that sighs for you combing gill and the gale, beneficently bellingly her sail. The Dying Statesman by Ambrose Bierce. It is a politician man, he drove near his end, and frenzy round the partisan of every man the friend. Between the known and the unknown he lay upon the strand, the light upon the sea is thrown that lay upon the land. It shineth in his glazing eye, it burneth on his face. God sent that when he came to die, we know that sign of grace. Upon his lips his blessed spirit poiseth a joyous wing. How is it that thee, child of light, dost hear the ancients sing? A song I hear the crowner see, and of it God is love. For where, dark world I go to be, a postmaster's above. Firm no monumental ark, but old is good and brave, to see a grand old party march to off our highest grave. The Genesis of Embarrassment by Ambrose Bierce. When Adam first saw Eve, he said, "A lovely creature shall my bed." Before consenting, she her gaze fixed on the greensward to appraise, as well as vision could approach, the value of a proffered couch. And seeing that the grass was green and neatly clipped with a machine, observing that the flowers were rare varieties and some were fair, posts of precious woods, spread fragrant palms, defluent, all things suited to her worth, she raised her angel eyes from earth to his, and, blushing to confess, murmured, "I love you, Adam, yes." Since then her daughters, it is said, were always down and asked to wed. The Incoming Climate by Ambrose Bierce. Now nights the ocean breeze makes the patient flinch, while its fire bears a sneeze in every cubic inch. Lo, the lively population, cursing stern notation, a cathedral acclamation. The Lord's Prayer on a Coin by Ambrose Bierce. Upon this quarter-eagle's level face, the Lord's Prayer, legible inscribed, I trace. Of father which the pronoun wears funny, and shall subscribe to have addressed the money, which art in heaven and e'er with no doubt. The preposition should be stricken out. Needless to quote, I only have designed to praise the frankness of a pious mind, which thought it natural and right to join the rare significancy, prayer and coy. The National Guardsman by Ambrose Bierce. I'm a gorgeous golden hero, and my trade is taking life. Hear the twiddle-twiddle-tee-roo of my sibilating fee, and rupper-dupper-dum of my big bass drum. I escort strong and bold the grand army to protect. My countenance is cold and my attitude direct. I'm a Californian guard and my banner flies aloft. And the stones are oh so hard and my feet are oh so soft. The Night of Election by Ambrose Bierce. A venerable patriot, I pray, stand not here coatless. At the break of day we'll know the grand result, and even know the eastern skies faintly touched with grey. It ill befits thine age to hoary crown this rude environment of rook and clown, who, as the libelling bulletins appears, with drunken cries incardinate the town. And if with noble zeal you stay to note the outcome of your patriotic vote for Blaine or Cleveland and your native land, take, and God bless you, take my overcoat. Done part and mighty wide of you, and now guess the country'll have the trail somehow. I ain't allowed to vote, Warden said, and walk my coat up on old Stainslow. Politician by Ambrose Bierce. The growy sons manipulate the tiller of a ship of state, when the humble useful toil to work the tiller of the soil. The retrospective bird by Ambrose Bierce. His call is the cackle, his eyes dim, and mobs today on the lowest limb. No words says he, but he snaps his bill and twitches his palsied head, as to quell the ultimate plum of his pride and hope, quits his now featherless nose of the Pope, leaving that eminence brown and bare, exposed to the prince of the power of the air. And he sits and he thinks, I'm an old, old man, mateless and chickless, the last of my clan. I'd give the half of the days gone by to perch once more on the branches high, in my great-grand-daddy's comical croaks and authorized versions of bulletin jokes.
The Statesman by Ambrose Bierce. How blessed the land that counts among her sons so many, good and wise, to execute great feats of triumph when trouble rise. Behold them mounting every stump, by speech or liberty to guard. Observe their courage, see the jump, and come down hard. Walk up, each cries aloud, and learn from me what you must do to turn aside the thundercloud, the earthquake too. Beware the wiles of yonder quack, who stuffs the ears of all that pass. I alone can show that black is white as grass. I show through all the day and break the silence of the night as well. Great make, I wished I'd go and make of heaven a hell. Advocate free silver, B, free trade and C, free banking laws, free board, close, lodging would for me win rampant applause. Low D lifts up his voice. You see the single tax on land would fall on all alike, more evenly, no tax at all. With paper money belows E, we'll all be rich as lords, no doubt, and richest of the loot with B, the chap without. As many curs as idle wits, who know not what the ailment is. Meanwhile the patient foams and spits like a gin fizz. Alas, poor body politic, your fate is all too clearly read, to be not altogether quick nor very dead. You take your exercise and screams, your rest and fainting fit betweens. 'Tis plain that your disorders worms fat and lean. Warm capital, warm labour dread, within your gnawed muscles go. By curls make your life a hell, your death a hoe. God send you find not such an end, to ill soever sharp and huge. God send you converts, God send you them if huge.
The Tables Turned by Ambrose Bierce. Of the man the streetcar ran, and the driver did never grin. O killer of men, pray tell me when your lover means to begin. 10 years today I've observed you slay, and I never missed before your jubilant peals as your crunching wheels were splattered with human gore. Why is it, my boy, that you smother your joy, and why do you make no sign of a merry mind that is dancing behind the sombre face of mine? The driver replied, I would laugh till I cried if I had but scattered you, and I'd like to explain if I can for the pains myself that I've cut in two. The Unfallen Brave by Ambrose Bierce. Not all in sorrow and in tears to pay of gratitude's arrears, yearly sum not prompted wholly by the pride of those for whom their friends have died, today we come. Another aim we have in you than for the buried boys in blue to drop it here. Memorial day we wives the chin of barns, solemn chimps, and that's why we're here. And when in after ages way shall pass like mortal men away, the war song sung and fame will tell the tale anew, and how intrepidly they drew the deadly ton. When cull-white lilies for the graves of liberty's loquacious braves and roses red was represent their rivers, these to blood that in unmeasured seas they did not shed. The Unpardonable Sin by Ambrose Bierce. I reckon that you never knew the dandy slugger Tom Carew, yet a touch as light and free as that of any honey bee. At where it lit there wasn't much to justify another touch. Or what a Sunday school it was to watch him putting up his paws and ruminate upon the heft to particularize how he left. That was my style, that's all I say, some others may be equal gay. What's come of him, no, I'm sure, is dead, which makes his fate obscure. I only started in to clear one vital pin in his career, which is to say, afore he died, he soiled his ermine mighty snide. Yes, seek he took for politics, and learned from statesmen's feller tricks. Pulled wires, wore stovepipes heads, used scant, just like he was a president. Went to the legislator, spoke right out again the British yoke, and that was right. He let his hair grow long to qualify for mayor, and once or twice he poked his snot in Congress like a local loot. I had to come, no can hope, to wrestle God again with a rope. Tom went from bad to worse. Being dead, I suppose it oughtn't to be said, for stitching king teasers flow from politics I'm fit to know. I think it's acting right to tell it, Thomas flowed the fight. Valley of the Shadow of Theft by Ambrose Bierce. If they are just minds of a den of thieves, when the minions of the moon divide, the travellers pursue low, the devil grieves, his larger share as the leader still denied. Capitan foresees that his reign may be disputed to beclose his head. Joy's bridal veil is torn and vain, and the creep steamer dangles there instead. A vernal fall abates her pleasant speed, and hesitates to take the final plunge, for rumors reach her that another greed awaits in the village of Sponge. Brothers envy the accord of mind and peace of purpose, but the good deplored as honour among commissioners, which bind with confraternity of crime the board. The half-doomed bows, riven faced weep, but not as formerly because bereft. Prophetic dreams afflict him when asleep of losing his remaining half by theft. Ambitious knaves, has not the upper sod enough room for every crime that crawls, but you must loot the palaces of God and drop your filthy names upon the walls? The Wise and Good by Ambrose Bierce. Father, I saw the church as I passed, the populace gathering in numbers so vast, that they couldn't get in, the voices were low, and they looked as if suffering terrible woe. 'Twas the funeral child of a gentleman dead, for whom the great heart of humanity bled. What made it bleed, Father? For every day somebody passes forever away. Do the newspaper men print a column or more of every person whose troubles are o'er? Oh no, they could never do that indeed, or printers might print it and a reader would read, that the sepulchre all sooner or later must be born, it is only the wise and the good that all mourn. It's right, Father dear, but how can our eyes distinguish in dead men the good and the wise? It's easy enough to the stupidest mind, the poor and in dying leave nothing behind. Seest thou mine eye, Father, anything green, and takes the sun for a gaping marine, go tell the fine tale of the wise and the good, who are poor and lamented to babes in the wood. And with horrible youth as a hastened away, for spilling a wink that affronted the day. To a Critic of Tennyson by Ambrose Bierce. Affronting fool, subdue your transient light. The wisdom still dares folly to be bright. If genius stumble on the path to fame, 'tis decency and dunces to go lame. To a Dejected Poet by Ambrose Bierce. The gift that it be of God, for hast no one to appraise, nor say, here part or muse our ways, a road too stony to be trod. The divine to call the labour hard and the reward inadequate, who haggles o'er as high the fate is better bargained than barred. What account the afford labour lost, and the good angel holdeth reed? It were a sorry thing indeed to stay him till the palm be crossed. The labourer is worth nigh, the sacred ministry of song is rapture, where a grievous wrong to fix the wages arrayed for play. To a Stray Dog by Ambrose Bierce. Well, Tozer, I think your name must be Tozer. You heard this catcher's puppy of puppet dogs go. For you never, I'm sure, could have dined upon trouser, and your tail is impeachably curled just so. But hear me, your name, it was yours, supposer. Its meaning I cannot get anywise at. It's spoken correctly, perhaps it is Tosser, and means the one who tosses. Max Mueller, how's that? And I was ingenious at all at divining a word's prehistorical primitive state, of finding its root like a mole, but consigning its bloom to the turnip's top sorrowful fate. As I think of it well, I'm no near real solution, never, for how's the pretty invented word toes, and point of its signification than toes. So toes, I mean to rename you in honor of some good and eminent man, in light of the heat of whose quickening fame you may grow to an eminent dog if you can. In sunshine like his, you'll no longer be a croucher, the Senate shall hear you, for that I will vouch. Come here, so stand up, every Christian you goucher, and I am you, I'll shoot you if ever you gouch. To Colonel Dan Burns by Ambrose Bierce. I say, my lord, that you're Warwick. The title is an absurd one, I believe. You make no kings, you have no kings to sell, but really it were easy to conceive you stuffing half a dozen up your sleeves. No, you're no Warwick, skillful from the shell to hedge your sovereigns. On a mare's nest, maybe, you'd incubate a little jackass baby. I fancy, too, that it is naught but stuff, with power but you're said to be behind the throne. I'm sure it were accurate enough to represent you simply as inclined to push poor Markham, aligned in his mind and body, which will never be tough, round an invalid's wheeled chair, such many an employment to the nature's congenial. Now then you're an impostor every way, a human bubble, for the earth, you know, have bubbles as water hath. Some day some careless hand will prick you in that hour, utterly you'll vanish then you'll throw, as for Woodsy might the Cromwell say, a cursed ambition to the pigs, for truly it would make them greater pigs the more unruly. Today, by Ambrose Bierce. I saw men who knelt in prayer, and heard him say, I lay my inmost spirit bare, today. Lord, far tomorrow in this need I do not pray, let me pull my neighbour feet today. And my duty duly shriek and run away from any form of face of work today. My commands exempted still, let me obey the promotings of my private will today. Have been the word profane, nor lie unthinking, say if anyone is standing by today. A secret sins and vices grave, let none betray, the scoffers' jeers they do not crave today. If stay my fortune all should ebb away, help me on other man's to fall today. So for tomorrow and its might I do not pray, just give me everything inside today. I cried Amen, he rose and ran like oil away. I said, I've seen an honest man today. To Wander Across the Way by Ambrose Bierce. When at your window radiant you've stood, I've sometimes thought, forgive me if I've erred, that some slight thought of me perhaps has stirred your heart to beat less gently than it should. I know you're beautiful, but you are good. A hope of fear cannot choose the word, when rightly suited to the thought. A third reason at love's dictation never could. Blindly to this dilemma so I grope, as one whose every pathway has a snare. If you are minded in the saintly fashion of your pure face my passions without hope, if not, alas, I equally despair, for to me were hope without the passion. To one Detested by Ambrose Bierce. Sir, you're a veteran, revered in history and fable, as warrior since you took the field, defeating Abel. As commissionary relator, or if not in every cottage the tale is, you contracted for a mess of pottage. In civil life you were yet, and our respect increases, a man of peace, a man indeed of 30 pieces. To paying taxes when you turned your mind, or what you call a white celebrity you earned, Sapphira also. In every age, by various names, you've won renown in story, but on your present record flames a greater glory. Cain, Azor, and Iscariot too, and Ananias likewise, each with peculiar powers, and who could lie as Mike lies. To Oscar Wilde by Ambrose Bierce. Because her folly's lips you got some babbled mandate to subdue, a rim of common sense, and you made promise and considered not. Because you strike a random blow, or what you do not understand, and begging with a friend hand to something that you do not know, out no speech of the desert, no answers with corrected shield, a wooden weapon that you wield, I'd meet you with a cast of dirt. Dispute of such a thing is due when shown to the two-headed calf. Why, sir, if I repress my laugh, it's more than half a bird can do. To the happy hunting grounds, by Ambrose Bierce. Wide windy reaches of high stubble field, a long grey road bordered with dusty pines, a wagon moving in a cloud by day. To city sportsmen with a dove between, breast high upon a fence and fast asleep, a solitary dove, the only dove in 20 counties, and its sick or else it were not there. Two guns with fire as one, a thunder simultaneous and loud. Two shattered human wrecks of blood and bone, and later in the gloaming comes a man with a local coroner, see, renowned all whereabout and popular, with many a remain. All tenderly compiled in a game bag the debris, gilded into the gloom and fades from sight. The dove, cured of its element by the shock, has flown meantime on pinions strong and fleet, to die of age in some far foreign land. Twin unworthies, by Ambrose Bierce. He parasites the to rich man's stick, as the fattest sheep the thrifty tick, the Stanford and the Crocodile to ban an Arab man, a meaner man, and lies to these. Who do the kind of wicked thieves would have the honester shriek, whose wages are that your employers own, and the fettered reeks upon your every bone, and deigns to ask of leather or sweet, what its health and how it stands for heat. Hear them well. I meant to write about you, but now my page is cleaner far without you. Two Methods, by Ambrose Bierce. To bugs used by the God Shepherd fed, the priest delivers masses for the dead, even from its strays outside the fold, therefore the masses he would not withhold. The parson love alike to free or kill, forsakes the souls already on the grill, and God's prerogative of mercy shamming, spares living sinners for harder damning. Uncolonized, by Ambrose Bierce. The war signs fail in time of peace, they say, to awful portents gloom the public mind. Or Mexico's aunt for the frail Colonel Mark MacDonald has resigned. We know not by what instinct he divided the coming trouble may be, like the steed described by Job, he smelled the fight afar. Ever it be he left, and for that deed is an aspirant to the GRR, that cannot flame along the Rio Grande, a citizen's commission will be handy. Unexpounded, by Ambrose Bierce. Evidence on deeds, on bills, on copyhold, on loans, on wills. Lawyers' great books indict, the creaking of the basic quills I've never heard on right. Visions of Sin, by Ambrose Bierce. From the regions of the night, come with recovered sight, from the spell of darkness free, what will then Howard see? He will see when he arrives, doctors taking human lives. He will see a learned judge whose decision will not budge, till both legitimates are seated and his palm is dully greased. Lawyers he will see will fight day by day and night by night, never both upon his side, with the fees may still divide. Preachers he will see or teach that it is divine to preach, and with fan a sacred fire and a worthy of the higher, he will see a trusted wife. Bright as some good husband's life enter at a certain door, but he will see no more, he will see good Templars real, see a prosecutor steal and a father beat his child, hear perhaps the Oscar Wilde. From the regions of the night come with recovered sight, the bliss of blindness free, that's what vain how else see.
Weather, by Ambrose Bierce. Once I dipped into the future, far as human eye could see, and I saw the chief forecaster, dead as anyone can be, dead and damned and shut in Hades as a liar from his birth, a record of unreason seldom paralleled on earth. While I looked he read him solemnly that incandescent youth, on the coals that he preferred to the advantage of truth. He cast his eyes about him and above him, when he rode on a slab of thin asbestos, what a venture he to quote. For I read it in the rose light of an everlasting glow, cloudy, variable winds with local showers, cooler snow.
With a Book, by Ambrose Bierce. Words shouting, singing, smiling, frowning, sense lacking, are nothing more obscure than Browning, safe blacking.